Welcome in to another edition of Steve on Your Side on 9 News Plus. I'm 9 News consumer investigator Steve Staeger. Today, let's talk about Hacks, not that hilarious show on HBO, though it is very good. I'd recommend you check it out. We're going to talk about other kinds of hacks, hacks that make you vulnerable. Reports show that about 60% of Americans have had their data stolen in some kind of data breach. So the old days of your data being private and totally secure, those are pretty much gone. And I've told people for months and what feels like years that if you use the same password from account to account, there's a pretty good chance that that password is out there and your login credentials are out there. And if a criminal gets a hold of both of those, they can have an absolute field day, like they did with Judith and Frank, and prompted their call to Steve on Your Side.
Frank's phone wasn't working properly.
So Judith and Frank Dixon did what they regularly do with cell phone problems. They went to this AT&T store up the road at the end of October. But this trip was different.
And the young man who helped us, started looking through things, and he said, I don't know what's going on, but did you purchase such and such on such a day? iPods and another iPhone, a very expensive iPhone, and a computer and a watch. And I said, no, you've got the wrong people. We didn't purchase any of that stuff.
But their account said they did.
It was a total of over $3,000.
The manager at that store told them to file a fraud claim with AT&T.
I was on the telephone with the fraud of AT&T for almost 3 hours. I spoke to 3 separate people.
2 days later, she got an email. Claim denied.
And I felt desperate with every effort that I made.
Judith wasn't getting anywhere. So this is what this dining room table has looked like for months.
Yeah, since this happened, I've had it spread out, trying to figure out what am I going to do next? Who am I going to call?
So she called Steve on Your Side. We analyzed the receipts and found whoever did this went on a $3,700 shopping spree in 58 minutes back on October 14th. At 3:05 p.m. that day, they bought 2 pairs of AirPods totaling $500 at this store in Sheridan. 9 minutes later, at the same store, a $1,500 iPad. 44 minutes after that, an $1,100 iPhone at a store in Littleton. 5 minutes after that, a $650 Samsung watch. For each of those purchases, the crook only paid taxes in cash and put the rest on installment plans on Frank and Judith's account, which meant their monthly bill jumped from a little over $100 to...
This bill is totaled $449.
Judith thought she might have to pay it.
It has been the most stressful thing that we've been through.
Until Steve on Your Side contacted AT&T. And while we were at their house, the phone rang.
Hello, this is Judith.
Kevin from AT&T was incredibly helpful, but asked that Steve on Your Side not record his voice as we talked through the bill.
I filed a claim with the fraud.
He removed the fraudulent items, and when we later asked AT&T why it took us getting involved to make this right for Judith, they sent a simple statement saying they were still investigating how this happened.
A big company like AT&T should not tolerate this kind of behavior. And that's why I got Channel 9 involved, because I could not handle this by myself.
Handling these cases, that can be really tough. We heard from Bill and Carol Shriver, who had their bank cards compromised. And then they realized that their pension checks, their annuity checks, and Social Security checks were all being rerouted to different bank accounts. They didn't know how to get all this to stop. So we organized that they sit down with Amy from the AARP's Elder Watch and let us listen into the conversation on how do you get the bleeding to just stop.
So I'm Amy with AARP Elder Watch here in Colorado.
And I'm Bill Schrod. I've been retired since 2001.
I'm Carol, Bill's wife.
So where do you think the initial interaction with the criminal happened?
I don't think we can pinpoint it, but in November, we have a U.S. Bank King Soopers card that I got an alert on by text message, and then I called, and this gentleman told me that they tried to get some money transferred out of our account or charge some things from our account. And then the next morning, our bank called us, right, and this was like on a weekend, Saturday and Sunday, of course. And so the lady at the bank said they tried to take like $400 and have it transferred to IP in Indonesia.
So can I go back to the first text that you got from the King Soopers credit card? It said that your account had been compromised and it asked for you to call a number. Is that correct?
They did ask for a number, but I did not call that number.
You did not. You called.
I called the number on my card.
At any point, has anybody asked you to like remote access into your computer with any desk or download an app on your phone?
No.
Has anybody been in your computer or your phone? The hard thing about these is, and that's why I asked that question in the beginning, is it is almost sometimes impossible to figure out where the interaction point immediately starts. It's a very frustrating thing because one, it's just human nature. We want to find out where the crime actually started and happened. Who knows if at 10 years ago there was a breach that maybe you weren't notified about and your information was dumped on the dark web, and at that particular point, an identity theft criminal they call them fools, bought a fools, and your information was in there. That's the hard thing is kind of, we all want to know where it started and how it happened. But I think for you guys right now, it's figuring out how to stop the bleeding. So looking at everything you have done so far, like you've got your computer cleaned and scrubbed. Do we have a credit freeze?
Yes.
So that means nobody can go into Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax and open up credit in your name. So when you go into Social Security, first and foremost, I would have all of your documentation pretty much just for Social Security out. Okay. And you're probably gonna have a limited amount of time with them. And so you wanna make it as beneficial as possible to focus on the problem that they can actually fix. And that problem is your Social Security checks going into a foreign bank and you're not getting what's dutifully yours. Right? So how do we ask them, how do we solve for this problem today? What do I need to give you? And then I usually tell people, stop talking, right? Like, I hate to say that, but they need to then ask you the questions that they need to get the answers to so that they can go into their systems and adjust it, make it right and everything. They don't need the color commentary, right? I always say that's what I'm here for when I work with victims. I'll take all the color commentary possible. So have all your statements, because I'm sure you have paper or email statements, right? Tell them also what are our reinsurances going forward that this will not happen again. Chunk it out. And as much as the story is so heart-wrenching, emotional, frustrating, you have so much anger, we really have to, when we're speaking with these entities, we have to keep the emotion out of it. Right. Because again, they just need the data. Come to me, come to any other kind of victim advocate and give us the emotion. Yeah. And that's one of the things that we have found that a lot of victims of financial crimes are missing, is they're missing that emotional support. Because oftentimes, too, you guys are the ones that get the blame. And you shouldn't get blame. You were a victim of a crime. There is no different than what's happening to you than if I was walking out down on Spear and someone stole my purse. I would definitely recommend to file a police report. I think you said you did, yeah. And that's mostly to have that affidavit that says you were a victim of a crime. Right? It's not necessarily the expectation that local law enforcement is going to be able to fly over to Indonesia and try to like track these people down. Yeah, no. I always say, take a deep breath. I would definitely look at the phone and the computer again too. Yeah. I would absolutely look at that. We're finding so much fraud is happening unbeknownst to us because there is someone in one of our devices. And so what I usually would tell people is definitely take it to like a tech repair place that you trust that can do a full diagnostic on it, get rid of any malware, But on the phone, sometimes I just honestly, I tell people to go back to your provider and have them manufacturer reset it to basically zero. And then almost restart the device and have them kind of do that diagnostic on it. Any social media?
Yes. Yeah, they have social profiles, yeah.
Like Facebook and stuff? Do we have security tight on that?
Like, what do you mean by security? Like,
So you can go on, so if you have like Facebook, you can go into it and do like a privacy settings feature. Do not let anybody you don't know see your page. I would even suggest your profile picture not be of you. Have it something else, have no information on there, but we're just seeing a lot of fraud coming in via social media.
It's a challenge. I mean, even just going on the internet and handling all this stuff is a challenge at my age to try and work through all the.
And that's why we asked Joyce. We realized that you reach a certain age, you need somebody, a sounding board, that will help you make those decisions. I think everybody,
It's been good.
as you get older, should have that.
Everyone should have that. And let's be clear that I want you guys to know that this is probably happening to people younger than you as well. They saw a target. And honestly, I mean, older adults do hold the majority of wealth in the United States. So they're going to target you guys more than they're going to target my 20-year-old son, right? But trust me, they'll steal his $20, but they'd rather steal like what your pension and stuff. So it is great to have an advocate, and a lot of people don't. And so, that's one of the things that we do. And I think just sitting here and talking to you guys today, it does just remind me that the thing about this crime is there's just not a lot of support emotionally for the victims.
If you think that this is just a problem that happens to people who are in their retirement years in life, you're dead wrong. It happens to anybody. Anybody's really vulnerable, especially if you have a social media account. We met Rocky Rodriguez, who had his Facebook page taken over, and we tried to help him sort out the mess.
My name's Rocky Rodriguez.
You mean the Rocky Rodriguez from Facebook? The guy who's going to make all my financial woes moot with an investment in crypto? I mean, look at all these happy people he posts about helping.
It's not me.
But it looks like you.
It's the picture of me. Everything on there is me. It used to be my Facebook.
The real Rocky Rodriguez says he is living in a new era of identity theft.
On August 17th, I woke up, I was hacked.
His Facebook account of 17 years now under someone else's control. Someone he says is using all his old photos and even selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace.
All of a sudden woke up and it was gone.
It's a Facebook Marketplace scam oftentimes. It can also be an ad scam.
Cybersecurity expert Steve Beatty with MSU Denver says what happened to Rocky is happening to a lot of people.
This has skyrocketed actually in the last 2 years.
Hackers searching for so-called legacy Facebook pages, people who have been around for a long time.
Because these accounts have been around for 10, 15 years, they're trustable, they've built up a following of friends, their friends trust them essentially on Facebook.
All the easier to hawk crypto or sell fake items. Rocky says that he's tried to contact Facebook to get the page back or at least get it removed. Nothing.
That's why I called you. See if you can help me get it back or shut it down or anything.
Beatty says it could take a lot of work to prove you are who you are.
Most people will say it's at least 60 days worth of effort. Facebook in general and other places, I'm not going to just pick on Facebook, don't even have a number you can call.
A lot of consumer experts are trying to work with the big social media companies right now and get them to set up a better customer service protocol so that they can try to handle these hacked account requests that just keep coming in and coming in. Our partners at Consumer Reports have some really quick action items you need to take if you've been the victim of a hack or any kind of scam like this. My colleague Jennifer Meckles breaks it all down.
Like many of us, Consumer Reports tech editor Nicholas DeLeon knows how it feels to be the victim of a data breach. His advice?
Don't panic. My social security number was stolen in that big Equifax hack, and I was eventually able to sort everything out.
One important step Nicholas took, freezing his credit at the 3 big credit agencies, a move Consumer Reports generally recommends since it can help prevent criminals from opening new accounts in your name.
The thing is, anytime you need credit, say you're going to rent an apartment or you're going to buy a new phone, you'll need to unfreeze your credit to do so. You can do all of this by simply calling the credit agency and asking them to freeze and unfreeze your credit as needed.
A less restrictive option, contacting the credit agencies to put a fraud alert on your credit. This alerts lenders to take extra steps to verify someone's identity because their personal information may have been compromised. It's also a good idea to keep your eye on your free weekly credit reports, your credit score, and credit card statements.
And if you ever notice any weird or unauthorized charges on your credit card statement, you should immediately contact the issuer.
Finally, if you're a victim of a data breach, be sure to change your password, not only on your hacked account, but also anywhere else you've used it. And here's a pro tip. Instead of reusing passwords in the future, consider using a password manager. Those generate and store unique, complex passwords for each of your accounts. Many will also alert users if their password was leaked in a data breach, including Consumer Reports recommended password managers from 1Password, Dashlane, and Keeper. For Steve on Your Side, I'm Jennifer Meckles.
Are you sensing a common theme here? passwords. It's so important that everybody have a separate password for every account out there and that you change them frequently and make them hard to guess. A password manager can help you sort all of that out. That'll do it for us this week on Steve on Your Side. If you have a consumer problem or a question for us, send us an email, steveonyourside@9news.com. I'm 9 News consumer investigator Steve Staeger. Steve on Your Side, 9 News.